Hello, everybody, and it's so good to see you. We're on this self-care fortnight, and if you haven't seen the introduction, go over and check it out because it gives you a little insight into what we're doing. Basically, over these 2 weeks, what we're doing is giving you time to allow yourself to simply explore what self-care means, because self-care is such a weird word that's bandied about all over the place. But really thinking about it, caring for ourselves can be quite challenging because we're always running around after everybody else, doing things for other people. So this is all about you taking the time to really care for yourself and to understand a bit more of that. And I've got some amazing people that I'm bringing with me. And so they're going to be sharing their knowledge, they're going to be sharing their experience, and they're simply going to help you to really nurture and support yourself in your own mental, physical, and your emotional well-being. So I'm really excited. I was going to do this for a week, but because I've got so much goodness to bring to you, it's actually going over 2 weeks. And today I'm joined by the beautiful and the amazing Dawn Griffith, who is a brilliant hypnotherapist, and she's going to be sharing a little bit about hypnotherapy. But I want you all to remember that this is about you. So simply, take the time to explore, to listen to what we're actually sharing with you, and to relax and to enjoy it. So Dawn, wonderful, wonderful Dawn, it's so good to have you here. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure. And shall we just share that we've just had a bit of a nightmare with my internet here into the office. Yeah. So we've had to take a little bit of self-care and step back as well, haven't we?
Thanks for saying that, Dawn. That's a brilliant introduction. So introducing yourself a little bit, can you tell us what hypnotherapy is about and how you got into it?
Okay, shall I keep it brief because you know me well and know that I can waffle on? So I'll allow you just to step in and go, thank you, Dawn.
Okay.
So the story is really, I fell into the hypnotherapy a few years. I left college teaching in Milton Keynes College, teaching hairdressing in 2011, and during my period there I learnt about NLP and went on an adult education 6-week NLP course, and it fascinated me, and I thought, do you know what, I could be such a brilliant teacher, not just a good teacher but a brilliant teacher, and really nurture these students and give them the best that I could possibly give them for their experiences. And I got a really good deal being a teacher with the Paul McKenna NLP group, but couldn't take it because you can only take time off in holidays. In them days, it's changed now. So when I left, my teacher and a friend of mine that was in my teacher training course, they bought me a gift of an NLP taster day. So off I trot and have my NLP taster day because now I can. And very quickly, by the end of the day, I'm signed up for a whole NLP training course. I followed on with them and did some hypnotherapy, but I thought there's more to this. I want to learn more, and ended up going into the Quest training school in Regent's University with Trevor Sylvester and doing all my NLP again, but in much more depth. Yeah. And really, hypnosis is learning about the language and how to use language and recognizing the facial expressions and the micro muscle movements and the body language of a person. So that's how I got into hypnosis. It just, the mind just fascinates me. And I'm really, years ago, I'd have said I was really just nosy, but actually I'm just so curious about people and actually what keeps us stuck, and actually what kept me stuck in bad patterns, I would say, for many, many years.
So you're talking about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming.
I am.
Is it the same as hypnotherapy, or is it along the lines? What's the kind of difference?
There's a huge crossover. I would say years ago they would have taught you hypnosis, but with NLP language patterns. So it's Milton Erickson language patterns is what we tend to use now with hypnosis. What the NLP piece does is teach you to recognize those movements within and the language that people are using.
Okay.
And really, hypnosis, you have to know that. So in longer courses, I think that you would have learned that within the course without calling it neuro-linguistic programming. Yeah, there is a huge crossover, a huge crossover, as I've done more and more study and the more reading I do. Yeah, the techniques that you learn in NLP really apply within the hypnosis.
So it's all about people and recognizing people's behavior and relating to people from your point of view. From actually working with people, what is hypnosis? What do you do?
Okay, that's a really good question, Felicia. And I looked at it, and I've actually got a whole PowerPoint on what is hypnosis that I've done before. So you want it down into a micronism, isn't it? In simple terms, we live 90% of our day in a trance. Right. So even everything I'm doing now, every movement I'm making now, I am in a trance. And sometimes, or quite often actually, it's the trance is the behavior that is driving. It's the trance that is driving the behavior. That's better.
Yeah. So it's like habitual. So we get up and we brush our teeth, we have the same breakfast, we don't think about what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for an example, so I would be listening for the trance that person is in. And I'm going to use public speaking because we both belong to a public speaking groups. And public speaking, it might be that somebody says, oh, I can't speak. I can see everybody is laughing at me. Well, is everyone laughing at them? That's not a truism. It's not true, is it? Uh-huh. But it will go back to something that happened probably in the age of 2 or 3 that the brain has stored.
Right.
And has said, do you know what? I need to keep Dawn safe, because every time she speaks, everyone laughs at her. Because that maybe my uncle laughed at me when I was 3 years old. In fact, what my uncle said was, an empty can makes the least noise. So that was his saying. So that was one of mine, is that, oh, actually, but that's not true, is it? It's not true. And it's something that it's whatever I've made up in my mind at that age that has allowed me to go, oh, every time I sit, yeah. And that trance is called a positive hallucination. Uh-huh. I can see everyone's laughing at me. A positive I can see. A negative would be, I just can't see how I can go on. Yeah, I just can't see this, I can't see that. So we're listening for that language pattern and the trance that person is in at the time. The hypnosis part is allowing the conscious, the front part of the brain, the neocortex, to quieten down, to get out of the way and enter the unconscious or the subconscious part of the brain, where the amygdala and the hippocampus are in, and get into that and change that trance state to something that's more productive. Okay. And you cannot make somebody do something that they inherently do not believe, does not sit with their values, with their morals, or their core self. If it doesn't sit with them, it doesn't matter what language you use, you will not make them do something that is inherently wrong for them.
That's really interesting, because I was going to ask that bit about skepticism and why people may be afraid to be in that state. But how do you think it actually relates to self-care?
Well, this is my opinion, and I'm going to state that quite clearly, because I'm sure there's going to be people out there who would totally disagree. But in my opinion, I've done meditation. I've been in a mindfulness class. I haven't done yoga for a while, but I do yoga. And all of this is what all of these things are doing, is quietening that frontal, that neocortex, and allowing you to go into what I call, and this is very much what I call my wisdom, which is in my heart. Go into my heart space and just realizing what is and isn't true. And a lot of what I think is true in my world isn't true. I think it is in the moment. And then I get up in my thinking, and that's what I call it, up in my thinking, the snow globe shaking around with all the snow coming there. And then I get anxious, or I'm jumping back to the past and I'm getting depressed. In the past this happened, so this is going to happen again. Yeah. And it really is taking the time out to just relax you down. So mindfulness meditation and the hypnosis is very, very much the same thing. It's quietening the neocortex and going into the unconscious mind and allowing your wisdom on what is right for you to come up. And that is important for us all.
Yeah.
So it's not the scary thing. You know, if I could have somebody do hypnosis on me every single day, I would.
Yeah. Why? Would you?
Because it quiets my mind and just brings me up into the most beautiful, calm, relaxing state. But I'm not tired afterwards. You feel quite like, whoa, I actually feel quite energized. So I do a lot of training courses, and I love it because somebody has to do what I'm doing to them. So yeah, it's very in the room and you're working with them, but actually then you get that returned. It's that give and take, isn't it? The more I'm giving to you, the more you'll give back. And it's just, you just feel so calm. And where people think that you're going to make them cluck like a chicken at the click of your fingers, unless that is inherently within what you want to do, it's not what I'm about. I'm not a stage hypnotherapist. I understand how stage hypnotherapy works, but that's not what I do. I'm here for you to tell me, what is it that's not working for you now?
Yeah.
Let's explore where that comes from and then look to your solution. And I'm using your words to create your solution. So it is very much, and we all, Felicia, have stuff that we need to work on within ourselves.
Sure, totally.
My trainer said, we are all struggling. We are all struggling. We are all fellow strugglers. That's quoting Trevor Sylvester. We are all fellow strugglers, no matter where we are on this journey, this wonderful journey in our lives. I just wish I knew all of this earlier.
And that's the thing. It is a journey. And when I actually wrote this, it was very much about ordinary women. I wanted to really put across that, yes, we have been trained. Yes, we continually to train and we're qualified. But, you know, we're ordinary women with our own things going on. And I love the way that you talked about hypnotherapy as being linked to or aligned with mindfulness and that yoga and bringing us into a state of calm. Because I think often people think, well, if I'm going to be really calm, I'm not going to be able to be productive. But you've said it actually takes you to a place where you actually feel calm but energized as well. So
absolutely.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, that's it. Yeah, and it's a beautiful place to be.
And I think that would be a great place for us to kind of stop this at the moment and then do a little bit of a meditation, if you're happy to lead that. And then people can actually experience what it's like to have that level of calmness. Would you be happy to do that?
Yeah, we could absolutely do that.
Okay. Well, if you've got any questions, please do post them below and either I'll be able to answer them, but if it's really related to this area, which is Dawn's expertise, then she will answer them. So please do post below and any comments that you have. And of course, I'll leave Dawn's details there if you want to follow up with her as well. So thanks so much, Dawn, for doing this. We're going to do a little bit of a meditation in a moment. And as I said, to anybody who has any questions, please post them below. Thank you.